Hey, what's going on, guys? Rudy here with the Retro Universe, and I recently brought out my 3DS to charge it up because I want to start using it again for some games that I haven't finished or I kind of want to go back to. And upon firing up, there's a few things that I immediately started thinking about, and one of those is I really regret not getting more digital stuff from the eShop when it was available. Obviously, the eShop for the 3DS is now gone. Pretty much all you can do is get titles that you had already purchased on there to download. And while I did go through and make sure to get what I could, I kind of wish I had gotten more of like the GBA, or I'm sorry, the Game Boy stuff, and just some other titles that are a little bit rare to come across when you're looking for physical cartridges. I would always look out for sales on the eShop, and when they would come up, I'd go in and get a bunch of games. But even now, looking at it, I'm like, man, I really should have invested more in it and got some more games on there. There's a few that I regret that I didn't get a chance to pick up when it was still around. And yeah, we had plenty of time to go and do that stuff, but you know, it happens. And I know people mod their 3DS and can just put games like that. Since this is my only new 3DS, I kind of don't want to do that, only because I don't want to risk breaking it or anything like that. And these are unfortunately going for like $200-300 now. So I'm kind of wanting to leave it in its original condition, original software and everything like that. So yes, while people will say, oh, just mod it and you can get all the games you want, I don't want to tarnish this one just in the event that anything were to happen to it in that way. So I kind of want to leave it just as is. But yeah, pretty much just wanted to fire it up and actually show you guys what I have on my Nintendo 3DS here. This is obviously the new Nintendo 3DS, which is still to this day, I think, a really dumb name. But anyways, as you can see here, I got my Legend of Zelda theme because this was my favorite theme, and I love that you can hear the music, which is really cool. And yeah, off the bat, it was really cool that you had a lot of cool themes. It's really sad that they never did any themes for the Nintendo Switch. We got black and white themes. Really? They couldn't give us any themes in the lifespan of the Switch. It's just a bummer. I remember when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that means they're probably going to let us do themes like, you know, on the 3DS and stuff. Nope. Never got themes, never got anything like that, which is really, really depressing for the Switch. But whatever, we're here to talk about the 3DS. As you can see, I'm sure people are already looking at my screen here to see what I have. Currently, I started playing through Fire Emblem Awakening. I played through Birthright, and I really enjoyed that game. And I know a lot of people say that Awakening is even better. So I kind of started that one up and going through that. It's a really great game, and I'm liking the story so far. And then here we got some titles that I haven't played, but I wanted to pick them up because I know a lot of the Shin Megami Tensei, a lot of the Atlas stuff sometimes goes for real expensive with carts. So I got Shin Megami Tensei 4 on here. So eventually I'll go through that game. I've never really played the Shin Megami, like the Tensei, the main series. Obviously I'm a huge fan of Persona, but never really played the main series of games. So definitely something I will eventually check out. As you can see here, speaking of Persona, I have Persona Q, which I've also played some of. I think I've gone through the first dungeon. This game is really great if you're a huge fan of Persona 4 and 3 because it lets you go in and do the story either from the Persona 4 protagonist or the Persona 3 protagonist side, and eventually they meet up and stuff like that. Some of the voices sound a little weird, almost like the quality of the voice is a little bad. If you go online and look up a video of the game when they're talking, the voices sound a little muffled, so I'm sure that was to kind of condense the quality down onto to fit into the game, but it's still a bummer that the voices have this kind of little like weird muffled low quality sound to them. And it does have plenty of voice acting. They did change a lot of the voice actors, so some of them are going to sound a little different. But yeah, so Persona Q is definitely a great game. I was glad to get that one on here, and eventually I'll get into these little folders here to show you what's in there. I remember this one I picked up because it was like $1, and I was like, man, I could just go for like one of these little food games where you kind of just choose and select items from, you know, for people reminds me a lot of like Diner Dash, which was a really great game. I should probably go look that one up, see what's available on. But yeah, it's kind of like a Diner Dash style game, a game where you just, you know, people come up and they order food and you just pick it for them. Obviously, one of my favorites on here is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. I did have the cart at some point back when it first came out. Unfortunately, I think my dog chewed through it. It was when he was going through his puppy phase, and somehow it ended up on the floor and he chewed right through it. So yeah, I don't have the physical version of this. I know it doesn't go for much. I think it's like sometimes 20 bucks. But I have the digital version on here that I've played. I think I'm at the Water Temple right now. I think that's where I'm at on this one. But of course, Ocarina of Time, everyone knows what that game is. And then what do we got here? So those are extras. Resident Evil Revelations looks amazing on the 3DS. Obviously, they've ported it to everything else now, so you can play it on Switch, PS, you know, PlayStation, Xbox, all that stuff. But originally came out for the 3DS, and honestly, when this first came out, I remember being blown away by the graphic quality. I was like, okay, Nintendo's getting a little more serious with their graphic stuff. It just looked really great. Still a great way to play the game. So if you want to play it on 3DS, it's still an option. But yeah, I really enjoy this game and how it looks on 3DS. Like I said, looks really good. The Ace Attorney series, this is a trilogy. I started playing through the first one. I never really played them back in the day when they came out, but I know there's so many spin-off games now from Ace Attorney. And I mean, who doesn't love a, you know, crime thing, stuff like that. And, you know, doing all that stuff. But yeah, I played through, I think, the first two missions of it, the first two cases, and it's been pretty fun. It's a good series. I need to make sure to get back into that. Again, that's why I charged up my 3DS, because I want to go back and play some of these games. Here we got Stella Glow. Now this is like a tactical RPG, much in the vein of Final Fantasy Tactics, stuff like that. It's a really good game as well. I remember I think I've only played maybe like 10% of it. These were games that they were just on the cheap on the eShop, so I decided to pick them up and kind of jumped into them a little bit here and there. But that's another game that I want to make sure to go back to, because it does look really great, and the story was pretty fun so far on it. But if you're looking for a good tactical RPG, that was one of them. What do we got over here? Persona Q2. I haven't jumped into this one because I want to finish the other one, but the one downside of this version is they did not include English dialogue. So it's all in Japanese. You do have the subtitles in English, but yeah, they didn't do the localization for English on this one, which is kind of a bummer because it was Persona 5 and Persona 4 and 3, and obviously a lot of people are huge fans of Persona 5. But yeah, it's just in Japanese dialogue with English subtitles. So keep that going in mind. I know this one was one of the last ones I got because I saw the eShop was closing. They had it on sale for like 10 bucks. I'm like, I just got to pick it up because I know it's going to be really, really hard to find a cartridge for it later on down the line when I get around to playing it. So it's good to have that one digitally. And this one I think I just picked up because it was in my downloads list, and I kind of told myself I don't remember playing it, but I think it's just a short minigame thing for Super Mario and the minis and stuff like that. So I haven't launched that one yet either, but again, I know a lot of these games I haven't even played, but I just downloaded them because the eShop was closing. Retro City Rampage is another fun game. It runs pretty great on the 3DS. It looks great, so a nice little you know, classic GTA experience with some goofy stuff in it, you know, from the top view and everything like that. The controls can sometimes feel a little bit like wobbly, like almost a little too fast, but I'm sure that's how the old GTA games were as well. And yeah, that's it for just like digital games. Like I said, I didn't end up getting a lot, which kind of bums me out. I wish I would have got more. So let's go in here. Game Boy. So for Game Boy, I have Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. That's the colored version for the Game Boy Color. And then we got Pokemon Yellow. I remember when they announced these, I was so excited. You know, and this was actually before I started collecting Game Boy, like actual Game Boy stuff. I was like, oh, finally a way to play Pokemon Yellow. So I downloaded this and I got up to, I think I'm probably in the Safari Zone or something, which will let you know kind of how far I got into it. But yeah, Pokemon Yellow was great. I really wish I would have got more of the like Crystal and all that stuff on here, but that was the one that I went with. And then of course I ended up going back and collecting Game Boy stuff, and I got a copy of actually like an actual physical copy of Pokemon Yellow, and so I started playing that instead, and stopped playing this one. Mole Mania. A lot of people know Mole Mania. It's a great game. Shigeru Miyamoto worked on it. It's a fun little like puzzle style game. Definitely recommend playing it on anything that you can play Game Boy stuff on. Again, that was one of the last ones that I'm like, you know what, I just want to have it on here, so I'm just gonna buy it because it was like $5. Tennis is a stupid simple tennis game, but it was one of the first games I had when I was a kid for my Game Boy, so it was more of a nostalgia purchase. Just like, hey, I remember playing this tennis game. It's so bare bones, very, very basic, but again, it's tennis, so it's gonna be that way. And then lastly, the Pokemon trading card game, I got it on here. I have 2 physical copies, but I just wanted to have something that I could just have with me on the go, as you know, with Game Boy stuff, you have to turn off the Game Boy. Here I was able to at least put it to sleep. So whenever I kind of feel like playing that, I'll go back in and play that. So that's it for the Game Boy games. Again, I really wish I would have picked up more games just to have them on here. Like, you know, they were cheap. They were $5. Some of them were 10, but for the most part they were $5. Again, really should have picked those up. Super Nintendo, I think I have NES stuff in here as well. Yep, so Super Mario Brothers 3, this is the NES version that they put out. Obviously, you know what Super Mario Brothers 3 is. Super Mario World, I feel like I have Super Mario World on almost every Nintendo system that I have on, you know, the Game Boy Advance version, the one that's on the Switch, this, the original, the, you know, the, what do they call it, the classic Super Nintendo version that came out. You gotta have Super Mario World everywhere because it's just a game you can just jump into at any time. Earthbound. Now, don't hate me for this. I have never played Earthbound. I have it here. It's also on the Switch online thing. Never played it. I love the way it looks. I just, for some reason, I start it up every time and then I just stop. I don't know. I really want to give it a shot, and maybe I'll finally do it on the 3DS here, but I'm really sorry that I've never played Earthbound. I know it's a critically acclaimed game and people love the game to death, you know, but I will promise to give it a shot and hopefully play through some more of it rather than just the first, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, because I know it's a really good game and I promise I'll get to it. And that was it for Super Nintendo. Again, I know, guys, I really wish I would have bought more stuff. So it bums me out that I did not. And I think that's it. Yeah, so that's it for digital stuff on my 3DS. Again, it's a huge regret. I really wish I would have got more stuff. I have a bunch of physical games, but there was a bunch of stuff digitally that I really wish I would have picked up. Like more of the Super Nintendo, the NES stuff. Even though I know it's available on the Switch and you can do all that other stuff. And yes, again, I know people are going to say just mod your system. You can put everything you want on there. Don't plan on doing that with this system. Maybe I'll do it with one of my older 3DSs, but this guy I kind of want to keep clean. But yeah, guys, that's what I have on my 3DS. Did you guys make any kind of crazy amount of purchases knowing that the eShop was going to close? Or did you, you know, just do what I did and didn't end up buying a lot of stuff for it? I've seen videos where people have like, this thing just keeps going and going with games, and again, it's a huge regret, but that's the mistake I made. But that's just digitally what's on my 3DS. Let me know what you guys have on it. Are you guys still playing your 3DS and stuff? And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Bye bye.